Yes, guys, today we're going to be speaking to Andrew Azara about how he went from zero to $1,000 a month selling his expertise, how that looks for anybody that is aspiring to go full time in the industry selling their expertise. We're going to be diving deep into his journey, how that looks, and any advice to anybody trying to go full time in the industry.
Okay, Mr. Andrew, we're
Hello,
in.
sir. How are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. Chilling here
Let's
in
do
my
it,
home
bro. Let's
studio
do
in
it.
Barcelona.
Nice. So, this is my first interview doing this, so I'm just going to wing this entirely. So basically,
Do your
the
thing,
purpose of
man.
the purpose of this conversation is with Trackstack 2.0 and what we're doing. We're pushing a new positioning in that is related to people being able to monetize their expertise. So for you working with Trackstack, you're someone who is full time in the industry. So I just wanted to have you on basically to have a conversation about this topic of going full time and monetizing your expertise as a DJ. Obviously, you're full time. So for anyone that
hmm
doesn't know you, would you be able to just like introduce yourself and talk about who you are, your kind of origin story, career from where you started, and then how you are where you are now as a full time music
hmm
producer, DJ?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Andrew Azara. I'm an Irish DJ and producer. I'm currently living in Spain, in Barcelona, and I started making music around kind of professionally around 7 to 8 years ago. I was kind of always messing around with music since I was like 21. So I've
Mm,
always been around music, like production and going to events, DJing, birthdays, whatever, since an early age. So it's been probably about half my life has been centered around electronic music. So where that comes to the past, maybe a few years professionally, where it's changed for me is where I've sort of pivoted from an old kind of profession. I used to work in finance and accounting for
nice.
6 years actually. That's my original background is finance, and I sort of pivoted into moving into full time into electronic music around 2019. 2018, 2019 is where it all kind of started. So if you want, we could sort of trail back to those days and I can sort of tell you about that transition because I feel like a key part of this conversation will be the kind of transitioning because I feel like
Yeah,
that's probably the
100%.
hardest part was to transition people like it's quite scary, man, to be honest. it's
Yeah.
it's it's a whole beast in itself. It's very easy to sit here and talk about, oh yeah, like how things are now, but I think to focus on how it transitioned, I think would be great
Mm.
to speak about, which I'm sure we will. So we can kind of maybe start with that.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point because the majority of our consumer at Trackstack is the aspiring artist, the kind of 5 to 10 years in the game kind of thing. Like once you learn to produce and then obviously you start getting signed and then you start getting gigs, like that takes time just to even do that. Like and then it gets to
hmm
the point where it's like, okay, like, if you're gigging regularly, I mean, I've never been in a position, I've took a different route to focus on the production more than gigs. But the people that are DJing consistently and getting signed, from your story, like your perspective, from your journey, what was the kind of turning point where you felt like, okay, I'm making a decent amount of money doing this, but I want to go all in? Because obviously that was probably the most terrifying decision you've made.
Yeah, it was. I mean, so basically, I was living in Ireland, where I'm from, and I was sort of I kind of had this idea that I'm gonna work in events, and I was thinking if I work in events and do social media, like artist liaison kind of things, I
Mm,
will get my foot into the industry, even though it's not related to me actually DJing and playing or making music. So I had this sort of thought process where it's like if I just jump in to like the dance music world, period. I don't care if I'm cleaning the toilets
yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah.
club, whatever that means for me, just to get myself in, almost like just breaking in, like jumping into the pool, right? So I was working as a social media assistant for District 8. It's an events company in Dublin, and they basically book the like biggest DJs in the world, and they're still doing it today. It's called Index is the club today in Dublin, if you're aware. So I was like in the club every weekend doing social media videos for like
Nice.
150 euro or something a week or whatever it was. Not getting into numbers or anything, but it wasn't a lot. But I kind of understood, hey, I'm actually making some money from working in music. And that was the first
Mm,
like seed. I was like, okay, it's not a lot of money, but it's something. And that's
yeah.
kind of sparks something inside you where it's like, okay, if I can do this now, let's say in 5 years, how will that look, you know? So it
Mm,
wasn't really related to my own personal kind of DJing career, really, at the beginning.
nice. And when did it kind of transition into like, so let's say you're producing music, you're DJing. When did it come to a point where it's like, okay, like this is something I feel like would be sustainable in the future. Like this is like the kind of green flags where you're like, oh, this went well, or this went well, or this,
Mhm.
this paycheck, or even people, let's say you're getting releases on labels and people are like, yo, can you give me track feedback? Or can we do one-to-ones, or can you help me with my tracks?
Yeah. Well, so basically, like, even I'll talk about the whole like track feedback or like, one-on-one music mentoring, all that stuff I'll get to in like a few seconds. But
Mm.
just in the beginning, man, like, you're not going to make a lot of money from selling music or DJing. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just not a initial money earner. It's a labor of love. Like, to build your DJ fee price takes a lot of time, man.
Mm.
Making music off streams is minimal. We all know that. Maybe you'll sell stuff on Bandcamp, but like, how much is that really? Like, it's not.
Mm.
It's like a thing where it's it's disheartening because in the first 4 or 5 years, like, making money from DJing and selling your own music is really, really low, really low.
Yeah.
So where I get to now is like, you need to think outside the box.
Mm.
That's what I'm trying to say now. Is like, it's like, hey, okay, you're not going to earn a lot from that. So you have to think outside the box. And the stuff you mentioned is stuff that I started to do. You know what? It's funny, man. I actually started doing the whole Zoom calls before the pandemic. I feel like, I don't want to say I was the first one to do it, but I was kind of like an early in a person on doing this sort of, basically, I wouldn't say teaching, because teaching for me is like some guy with, well, like in school with like a piece of chalk, and you're just listening to some teacher and throwing
Mm.
paper at your friend's head. Like, it's not really like teaching. It's more like, hey, I have a skill in making
Hmm.
music, and I have a skill also in showing you how to produce music. And I felt like I actually had that knack. So I
Mm.
sort of doubled down on that before it even was a kind of a thing during the pandemic. Like, we all know how that was a bit of a popular
Yeah, yeah,
thing to
yeah.
do.
Yeah. No, it's a really interesting comment you just made about like making music and DJing is like it's you have to do it from passion because you can't just you can't get into this career thinking I'm gonna be successful and like financially successful. Like if you think that I'm gonna build a career like quickly, like go and be an accountant or go and be in a fucking construction, bro, I've been making beats for 10 years. I've made, I think I had this conversation with someone the other day. I calculated all the expertise that I've like one-to-ones I've done a handful of times and like gigs I've had in Phuket. I've made about 330 quid. And that's like 33 quid a year.
Mm.
It's ridiculous, bro. It's like, it's just not sustainable. But
Yeah, it's not
wh-
sustainable. You're right.
what you said about what you said then about like monetizing your kind of expertise. Let's talk about that. So when
Mhm.
you stepped into that like new like era of your kind of progression, what was the prerequisites for you to do that? Like where was you at in your career and like what was going well for you? Like and what were the green flags where you were thinking, okay, I can make money here doing this?
Okay, it's a good question. So basically, I really feel like you need to walk the walk before you talk the
Mm,
talk, if that's the expression. Like, you need to be able to show some value and worth to be
mm,
able to sell your skill, to be able to do something. Like, if I just tomorrow started teaching Spanish, it's not really going to work out well, because obviously I don't speak a lot of Spanish. But
mm,
the point is, like, the green flags for me was that people started to ask me about my music, and
Mm.
if I could show them how to make, or not to make music, but to, I guess, yeah, like show them new stuff, or they're tired of watching YouTube because they couldn't ask a video, like a question. A video
Yeah.
can't look at your own track. It can't give you criticism, and it can't be like a hard voice on what you're doing. And I felt like people were asking me to do that, man. So that was like a green flag. That was a prerequisite of like,
Mm.
okay, like people are asking me here about for help essentially, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And the first few months or years that I was actually having people come into my studio in Dublin, my little studio there, and I had like a queue of people coming in, man. It was
Fire.
wild.
Yeah, that's
Literally, like
that.
people coming in, like like not on Zoom. This is a little bit before that. It was like physically coming in.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, hey, this is working out well. I can do this on a Monday and Tuesday.
Mm.
I can go to the events thing I was working at on a Friday. I can make my own music on Thursday and Wednesday. I can, excuse me, I can, it's just gave me so much more time to focus on my own craft. I think that's another point which you're probably going to ask is like it enabled me to have my own time so I could put more
Mm.
energy into my own career, because working a 50-hour work week, and no disrespect for anyone who does that, and I've done it, I got back from those days battered, and I was making music on the train. I was making music at lunch. I was making music in the morning before I went to work, at night before bed, Saturday morning, straight up coffee,
Yeah.
8 a.m. Sunday morning, the lads are going for drinks. Fuck that. I'm making music,
Yeah.
you know, and that was great. And I'm not saying don't do that, but I was like, I can't sustain this. I need to be able to
You had to do that for people
give
to
more
pay.
time.
You had to do that for people to be able to like they start earning your stripes, like being in the trenches doing the work. Like the only reason why you like people come into you like, yo, can I pay you for your expertise is simply because you've done that. Like you sacrificed, you did the grind,
Mm.
you committed. Like most people are not going to do that. That's why your expertise has value.
I appreciate that. And it's like, again, that green flag, like I guess at the time, and I feel like I'm still only kind of warming up on my own music. I hit some good streams yesterday on my year, and I feel like now it's only kind of really coming together, and that was 7 years ago. But
Mm.
I think the fact that my music was getting released was definitely one thing that people would look at and go, "Hey, I want to do the same." So that was like again walking the walk a little bit. My music wasn't like fantastic 5 years ago, but people saw value in what I did, so they approached me to
Mm.
to work with me, like essentially. So that was the sort of the early days of it, man.
Nice. So like that brings
Which
us
which
on.
gave me more time. Like that was the main thing. Was I need more time.
So
It
you
was
say,
huge, man.
let's talk about that. So you were full time working in the finance industry, and
Mhm.
you were slowly growing this kind of expertise, music expertise income stream. And then how did the transition go into what you just said then about it's giving me more time? Like, did you drop time in your full-time job to like what was the transition period where you're like, okay, like I'm no
Mhm.
more 9 to 5. I'm going all in on this.
Yeah, it's a good question. I didn't actually like just kind of like walk into the office and throw my bag at someone's face and like I'm
I did.
leaving. Yeah. It wasn't that dramatic. It was very it's not
HR
very
came for
like
me.
eventful. Yeah.
They're like, we're doing an
Throw like
investigation.
your Yeah. No, it was not very like eventful or dramatic. It was just a kind of a I actually had my boss said to me, he's like, why don't you just go and DJ? Like, like go and do it.
Fire.
Because I was actually, I was playing, but I wasn't like touring. Because I heard the story of like the Martinez brothers were in school and they were touring in like Japan and coming back to school tired and they were like head was on the table. It wasn't like that. It was like, it was just more that they saw that my head was somewhere else. You know yourself, if you're
Okay,
somewhere
yeah,
every
yeah.
day and you're maybe like I was actually pulled up for making music on my break. Oh, not my break, like in work and stuff. I was like on unable to in like an office, and my head wasn't in it, man. And I think my boss was like, "Hey, look, why don't you like just go at it, like just go and try it, Not that he made me do it, but I was like, okay, cool. So I kind of just sort of left my job and then was just went straight into it, man. It was really, that's what it was. It was no like, it
Nice.
was kind of just go and do it. It sounds basic, but it really is about
Was
that.
there
But yeah.
was there any anxiety around it? Because like the thing is, um, I mean, I don't have a similar story to that, so I can't relate. Like my approach to, I mean, I would say I'm full time in the music industry in terms of me working with Trackstack, which is a music tech company. So I'm not exactly like
For
selling
sure.
my expertise or kind of like DJing or whatever. Obviously, that's
Uh-huh.
something I want to step into in the future, but I've had to achieve this level of lifestyle by developing skills that I can sell. Like so like, to make myself multifaceted to where I'm able to like go to a brand or a business and be like, this is what I can do for you. These are the deliverables, these are the outcomes. Like, here's a risk-free offer, an opportunity to give this a go, which is what happened with TrackStack. It just flourished naturally. It was part-time
Mhm.
and then now it's full-time. But
Mhm.
that's not the average music like story. So I think what yours is like going full
Yeah.
time. What was the anxiety like when you so obviously your boss is like, yeah, this sounds like a good idea. You should go and do that. Your head's not in the work anymore. But
Mm.
were you shitting yourself when you just like decided to leave your job and just like how did that
Yeah,
go? Like,
it was scary. Like I've always liked being autonomous, man. And even
yeah,
now I can get to my time, but like even with track stack and how I started with you guys and all that with Cam and George, and why I love being with track stack is because one of the words that they said from the start is that you will have this feeling of being autonomous, and even to
yeah,
yourself, like, and that was something I craved, man. I really kind of, and the anxiety was less, it was more like excitement to be autonomous because I
yeah,
liked the feeling of like of being in control and charge of my day and my hours and my finances and everything. And to me, I almost had more anxiety working, man, because they can just come in and go, "Hey,
yeah, bro.
here's your 2 week notice, you're gone," and that's your
That's true,
only
bro.
source of income. So
Yeah,
if you have other sources of income, and hey, maybe one doesn't work out that well, you have four more which can hold you up. So I've actually
mm,
had less anxiety, which is
nice.
kind of interesting. And that's probably, if someone's listening to this, that could maybe help someone today, is that, it can be more anxious depending on one income stream and one person to fund your whole life, and they could pull that rug in seconds. So, you could flip it anyway, but hopefully that answers your question, is like,
Yeah,
man, sometimes walking in the office, you're like, damn, like they could just say,
yeah,
I know
bro.
you can find a new job and stuff. It's all good. I'm sure you could bounce back okay, but there's that level of anxiety where, you know,
You don't have any
it can
control.
happen. And
Like, yeah, the
for
control,
sure, man.
you're just not in control. It's, I
And
think
maybe
that
something I
is,
could talk about, man. I mean, maybe something I didn't actually mention before, and maybe this might throw a spanner into the conversation, but I actually, when I came to Barcelona, I actually took a job
mm,
to get here, but it was in the music industry. It was a music job called Owlart was the company. It's a music education platform. I actually did something which was kind of not against what I'm doing, but I actually sort of jumped into a job for 6 months, and I realized that it wasn't actually um the right move, which is
mm,
interesting. So it was a music industry, but that's a whole different conversation if you want to get into that. But it enabled me to come and leave my country,
yeah, yeah. Cameron,
which was
Cameron calls those kind of periods. It sounds a little bit similar to what you said, but he calls them like waves. I've heard him use this analogy two times, like riding waves or catching waves. Like you either, take a break from your full-time job to go and work on your passion project or to go and learn a new skill for like, so you save your money, you take 3 to 6 months off. I think Cameron and George actually went to Barcelona to do some kind of coding, programming, schooling retreat. And they took time off from their full-time jobs and just like left and was like, we're gonna go and do this. I think that's a true
yeah.
story. But so what you just said then about different income streams, like not being reliant upon one income stream, I think this is really important for this conversation because like the way the music industry is going, it's this kind of DIY approach of artists just taking control and having more autonomy over their lives and um, the
Hmm.
income streams, etc. In your opinion, or even just like from your experience and what you're doing with like your different income streams. What options are there for artists to pursue to generate income in the music industry?
Yeah, there's lots of options, man. It's a great question. It's like a ever evolving answer, man, because things are changing with AI, and
Yeah,
it's such a I love this question because there's so many things you can do, and what I do might be different from someone else,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the obvious ones are, I mean, like I just recently got into creating samples, man, and I've been
Mm,
getting really into selling sample packs. And this is
nice.
only I'm only kind of new to it, and I'm really enjoying selling like a bit of a digital product.
Mm,
Um, Kind of like you could call it e-com a little bit, like it's like not like a big e-com website, but I have like a site and I have all my sample packs and I make sales every day, and I love making them and kind of pushing them and marketing them and stuff. And that's just one thing, man,
sample
and
packs.
I've only
Nice.
recently done that, and you can actually really nail it, man. You can really sort of build like a little kind of a nice sales page. You can get your like kind of product page. You can build emails. You can market them. You can. It's a whole thing, man. Which I'm only getting into in the
Mm,
past like maybe even 3 months. Another thing which obviously I'm working with the lads on is like with tracks like 2.0 and Elevate and incorporating, say for example, track feedback. I'm only getting into this as well, and this is a new source of kind of income for me is getting into selling feedback services, and it is I think it's going to be great, man, because a lot of people ask me, hey, can you give feedback on my track? And the usual answer is like, yeah, cool, nice track, bro, or whatever, like, and that's not really great feedback. So this is going to be something new, which is going to be, hopefully out soon. And that's just two, so
mm,
2 of 10, 15 ways,
yeah.
that's just quickly off the top of my head. And if you really kind of set your mind to it, you can really sort of create something around that. And that's only
Mm,
two. And if you have five of them going,
yeah.
you know, that's powerful, man, because, okay, one of them has a bit of a slow month. You have four more which are churning there and
Yeah.
moving in the back, So I think that kind of understanding that if you just focus on one, man, that can be great because you put your eggs in your basket. But the kind of thinking about few, I think, is strong and
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, I think I do like the what you said then about digital products because it's like you do all the work on the front end like making a sample pack isn't something that happens overnight and you doing that obviously all the work on the front end you spend like a couple of days or a week or whatever making the sample pack and then once it's up there it's just like this evergreen product that you just have to market it like you don't have to sit there
Mm,
and build it again you just like keep marketing it. And then as you're growing your personal brand and you're getting more releases and people are discovering you, that's always just kind of tick away. I have thought about doing something similar to that, like building something on studio, and I'm going to give it a crack next year. Just some kind of like a program based around to serve aspiring artists basically because there's a lot
mhm,
of courses that just serve like this is how you make tech house this is how you make afro house whatever like there's no one talking about this is how you these are all the steps of being an aspiring artist and these are the problems you're gonna because working at tracks that we just see out all of it we see like the complete journey that people are going through all the problems they're dealing with all the pain points so I'm thinking to myself, what like why can't I just make and I'm building my own artist career as well. So it's not like I'm like you can either be the expert and be like, hey guys, I've completed artistry, this is how you do it, or you can be like, I'm building this is what I'm trying to do. You can follow along, this is what I'm building, this is what I've learned, this is what's worked for me. If you want to buy it, you can buy it. If you don't, you don't. But
mhm.
yeah, I think just having more kind of
I mean, to be honest, like, sorry to interrupt, but like that's more entrepreneurial stuff,
mm,
You don't have to go super entrepreneurial, like, or super on your own. Like, if you're a DJ
mm,
producer, man, don't be afraid to go and be a tour manager for a DJ.
yeah,
Like, there's
true.
things you can do, man, which isn't just related around
Your own thing.
entrepreneurial projects. And because they can
Yeah.
be scary, man. Like, if I told you quit your finance job to sell samples, you'd be like, you're out of your mind, you know? So
Yeah.
I want people to, if people who are listening, that's one out of maybe five or six different things. You know, that's just
Mm,
one leg. So the
okay.
point there is like, if you are going entrepreneurial, it's important to understand that you need to like diversify your projects because if you just do one, there's too much pressure.
Yeah.
Like you'll burn out, you'll be stressed. So that's more of an additional thing to maybe more of a core project.
Well, what would you say is the kind of foundational approach then? Because if we look at your story, for example, as like a case study, or we even just look at some of the people using Studio and some of the people that you probably been working with over at Trackstack, like the common theme that that I keep seeing is like the people that are performing the best on Studio is like your Brendan James, your Brad Brunner, your Timmy P's. Like they have established personal brands from the music and DJing careers. Like Timmy P's obviously 20, 30 years in the game, so he's more of a veteran. But if you look at
Mm,
someone like Brad Brunner or who's established his sound or Brendan James who has releases and he has a sound that is popular, like people that want to learn that sound are like, I want to learn that sound to get signed like you, so I'll pay you for that. It's like if you
mm.
want to go and get a certain product, you just go there. So do you think that is a feasible approach?
I think it goes deeper than that, man. I think I've been, very in the weeds with it for many years, and I feel like people don't just purchase something to learn a technique to then get one outcome. I think it's way
Mm,
more holistic. I think the reason why I say Timmy is done well because people pay for community as well, man, and
yeah.
they want people to listen to them and they want people to hear their work, their problems, and not necessarily just consume information because I think being just a fly on the wall is great, but that only gets you so far. So there's a reason why people would come into these platforms. They want to feel like they're part of something. So I
Mm,
think that's sort of what the message of studio is more going to be
mm,
into next year is that you can purchase a video course on how to make or how to build a wall in your house. You watch a video and then you build your wall and then you're done. It goes deeper than that. And I feel like that's
mm.
what's we I've been uncovering over the past few months is that it's more than that. And if you can understand that and tap into that, you will do well. You know, if you can understand that
Mm,
people buy into community, not just video content,
mm,
that's that's the key there. And you can really sell that, like being part of a tribe,
yeah,
that's what people buy into. So
yeah,
I feel like with Timmy's thing, it isn't just a video course.
mm,
People love being in his group. They love to jump on the video calls. There's like a live feedback video where people can listen to their music live. It's more of an experience. So I think it's
mm.
less watching
Yeah,
videos.
because it is quite a lonely experience as a producer and a DJ, like for the most part, like especially until you've got that level of kind of success, whatever that means. For the most part, like without these communities, you are just going to be on your own unless you have a small network of people that are producing the same sound as you. You can go out and find them on social media.
Mm.
Um,
You
we've all
you
done.
can find a way, man, to make a sound. If you look hard enough and try hard enough, you can do it, man. You can
Mm,
learn how to make tech house in 6 months easily if you
mm.
just starting off. If you just literally watch hours of videos and is that productive? Is that great? Yeah, it's great. You're taking action on your what you want to do, but you get to a point where you realize like, hey, like, you know, it's not really you want more. So I think
I think the
I'm not sure I just went on a
community.
tangent from your question is like if you can tap into that, I feel like
Mm,
that's really I mean, that's the reason why there's like broadcast groups on Instagram.
yeah.
Like, you know, people love that, man. People really love that, and there's a lot of value in it. And I think that's what is being sold now, not just.
Yeah, I've not thought of that perspective before. Because when I was thinking about the product that I want to build, it's like, yeah, like it's very easy to just be like, I'm going to solve a problem. People have X pain, you give X solution.
Mm,
But you do mislead that. Well, I've misinterpreted that kind of need for community. And because let's say you are the analogy you just gave then of I'm going to learn to produce tech house 6 months down the line, okay, I can make tech house. Like you've got all these tracks that probably sound shit, but you don't know they sound shit because you're in love with them because you made them. So you don't have
Mm,
anyone to tell you that they sound shit. So you're just like sending them out and you're getting declined by all these DJs you're inspired by. And you're like,
mm,
this feedback loop is broken. Like, where's the feedback? But the community, what you're
mm,
saying is like, if you're in a community with like more seasoned producers or like producers that have like yourself that have had releases, you've had support, you've played gigs, you could objectively just come in and go, this needs to change to make it
mm.
better. This is the standard. And then it's like, oh, well, Andrew in the community helped me make my track better. Now he got signed.
Yeah, I think that's really gonna be, I think, the kind of engine of Trackstack Studio. I really believe because there's already a Synto hub, there's already YouTube. So why is there? I mean, obviously you have private content. Yeah, there's Patreon as well. Like those platforms exist. There
Mm.
is stuff out there where you can consume video content. There's so much free stuff on YouTube. It's crazy, man. Now, I'm not saying that you wouldn't upload your video content and showcase your content. But I think maybe also driving the content through your community. So what do they want to see, and then make videos from
Yeah,
what they want to see. I think
yeah,
that's more special, versus just how to do videos because they can
yeah.
be found quite easily, man. So I don't know if that went on a bit of a tangent, but I think, yeah, that's my answer there.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting tangent. I think it's something that a lot of people, a lot of producers that are getting success kind of like, I saw George talk about this on a podcast. He mentioned this idea of a lot of producers and DJs that are like making music and they have success or they're DJing and they're getting gigs or they're getting releases. A lot of them do one-to-ones, but they just don't talk about it. Like, it's like this weird little thing they just do in the shadows, and it's like because it's not sexy or it's not on brand. It's like I'm this really successful DJ, whatever, whatever, but I actually pay my bills with one-to-ones. Like Cameron and George have heard this story so many times from like people you would look at objectively on Instagram and go, "Oh, they're sick. Like they're full-time DJ. They're big boy. They're doing really, really well." And then it's like they speak to Cameron and George and they're like, "Oh yeah, like they're not making fuck all from the gigs. Like they're paying the majority of the bills through monetizing their expertise and."
Yeah, expertise. Yeah,
But what's your thoughts on that in terms of
yeah.
this kind of like
I mean,
taboo aspect of it, like where it's a bit weird?
yeah, it's a good question. It's like it's a great question. It's like if I had I wish I had the answer to it because, like I said from the conversation earlier on, man, it's like just thinking outside the box, man. You know, and
Yeah,
diversifying. I don't think there's anything shameful or wrong with that, man, because paying to play performance fees are based off performance in that moment, and if that happens 4 or 5 times a month, great. But like you have Monday to Thursday
yeah,
as well. I mean, what's wrong with like filling your week up doing that and then doing that in the weekend? I mean, I think the taboo thing comes from maybe like this sort of egotistical
it's the
showcase
ego.
of a
That's what I
of a
thought.
sexy life of being on a plane, traveling to a new country to DJ, and I do that, and I've done it many times, and man, it's great. But like, yeah, I mean, there's no shame in it, man. I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything wrong
Yeah,
with it. I
I
mean,
think you're right though.
if you if I heard a DJ was a doctor, there's a guy from Holland called what's his name, Razir, or I think his name is
I
Razir.
think yeah,
I'm not too sure,
I think I've heard of it. Is it like
and
minimal?
he yeah, just like he's a house producer. He's
Mm,
like done like some like great music, but I think he is a full-time nurse or doctor during the week, and he says that.
mm,
Is that less sexy? No, he's a doctor during the week,
yeah, yeah.
and he
It's
DJs in the weekend. To me, that's actually kind of cool because you're actually a doctor
yeah,
during. That's fucking badass. So why can't that be badass too? I mean,
yeah,
it's okay to do something else alongside performing. I
yeah.
don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just,
It's also what's the word? It's also sensible and like pragmatic because I think something Cameron and George have like drove home on a lot of our calls about 2.0 is this idea that a lot of aspiring producers and DJs look at the big guys like your Josh Bakers, your Christos, your Michael Beebe's, and you're like, I'm gonna be that. Like that's like me saying I'm gonna go be Ronaldo or like I'm gonna go be
Yeah, true.
Messi. Like it's it's a great dream, but like what's the percentage chance of people getting like drafted in the NFL or like the Premier League, like
Mm.
going through like the Liverpool Academy or Manchester Academy and then getting through and then getting played, like that's very, very small percentage chance.
Uh-huh.
If you're gonna just gamble your entire career, like your financial future on this like 0.0001% chance that you're gonna be a successful superstar DJ. Like you've got a wife,
Yeah.
you've got a kids, you've got a future, you've got bills, you've got a mortgage. Like it's just not realistic. And I think,
No, it's not, man. And I think just want to make a point. Me quit my finance job, like you don't have to do that.
mm,
You don't have to do what I did. You can be a doctor and a DJ in the weekends and make it work, man. I'm not trying to sit here and say like, I know the topic of the conversation is going full time in music, and
mm,
I appreciate the statement and all these questions are really great because I'm giving my experience about it. But you can balance something. It's just I quit my finance job because I needed the time because I felt like I was lacking time and energy. So that was
mm,
like more of a personal decision for me to focus more on, like you can make it work as well,
yeah,
and when you're ready, you can go full time. You don't have to just go full time
yeah,
into it from the get-go. You know what I mean? So I mean that
yeah,
guy from Holland is a prime example of balancing two different professions at the same time, which I
yeah.
respect that. Like,
I think you just inspired a thought. Like, there's a friend here, and he's a personal trainer, and he's working for like an IT sales company, but he's got a good relationship with them. He works here remotely, but he's doing a lot of personal training, so his like schedule's packed. And I was speaking to him the other day, and I was like, "Yo, have you thought about?" Because he wants to go full-time personal training.
mm,
I was like, maybe, drop a day. And I think he was suggesting like he's gonna have to drop a day with his boss, and then that could be like a healthy progression. Like, you don't have
mhm.
to just fucking just drop everything and just be like, I'm gonna just go all in and just wing it. Like there are other
I
approaches
think
that
that's
work.
yeah, 100%, man. You can do a 3 day week and just
Yeah.
sort of take a bit of a cut. Maybe don't eat out on the weekend.
Yeah, man, there's so many
There's so
ways.
much ways, man. Like, I mean, one way. I mean, obviously, there's really obvious basic answers like go live with your parents and stuff. Like,
Oh, bro.
I
Yeah,
mean,
my favorite
you
thing.
can you can do it,
Yeah.
and you can just open the fridge in the morning and make. Yeah, I mean, look. I don't want to promote anyone's decisions as well. This is just a conversation between
Yeah.
me and you about my experience and what I experienced at the time of what I did it. There's a million ways to skin a cat, and you don't have to do one thing. You don't have to, if you're unhappy in a job, anyone, I would say, maybe try and change that because you're not happy. But, if you're lacking time and energy towards your music profession and you want to go full time, don't go out on the weekends, man.
Yeah,
Like
but
maybe on a Friday, try request a Friday off and do a 4 day week if that's possible.
yep.
Um, take annual leave and just work. It sounds crazy, but like just make it work, man. It's like there's a,
Yeah.
there's a lot of hours in the day, man. If you think about it,
Make
there is.
sacrifices for the music. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
man.
that's
I
so
mean,
it's such a
wake up 2 hours earlier, fuck it, and get up and make
yeah.
music and then go to work. I know lots of guys who do that, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this is going, but it's just like full time in music is you don't necessarily have to be not doing something that's not related to music as well. You can balance it for the time being for
Yeah.
for a couple of years if you're more comfortable doing that.
Yeah. I think I really like what you said then about go live with your parents. Like I think all of this comes down to putting your ego to the side because like if you're happy to sacrifice and you're happy to not go out with your friends and you're not happy to get wrecked every weekend, you're not like you're happy to not do all these things that you kind of your ego wants to do because it's like, oh, I don't want to miss out or I want to go to the party, I want to go to the rave, or I want to just go out for dinner, I want to go on dates, all this shit. Like if you put your ego to the side and you sacrifice and you save your money and you get more time and then you can invest that time into the music, which doesn't have an immediate return on investment. Obviously, it's a long-term thing you have
Mm,
to delay the gratification on. Like I remember Like it's funny thinking about this. I had to go back live with my parents when I was I want to say 26. I came out here for six. I came out here, bro. I had like 6, 7K, and I was like, I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna be full time. I'm gonna fucking come out here and I'm gonna live remotely and be a digital nomad and all this shit. All these business opportunities I tried, all failed. Like 3 to 4 opportunities, they all failed, and I had like minus 700 quid. I couldn't even afford to fly home. Like I had to get my dad to bail me out to fly me back to
Oh
the
no.
UK. And I was in my like everyone my age has decent jobs, their own gaff, like money,
Yeah, and
like
you're
all this shit, bro. And I'm just like, yo, I actually have nothing. Like I have fuck all. I actually owe 700 quid, and now I'm living with
mm,
my parents, and it was just like
that's yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
yeah.
Oh man,
But
I can feel you.
it was the best thing. Now that I'm laughing thinking about it because, like, the only reason I'm able to be here now full time and I'm basically living my dream or working on my dream and focusing on music and is all because I had to put my ego to the side and go back to the drawing board, go back to
Mm,
my parents' spare room, stayed there for a year, and just, bro, I worked my bollocks off. I've never worked that hard in my entire life. Just like
mm,
learning, facing fears, like trying to learn skills and approach clients and just rejection, sales call, like just decline.
mm.
And then but it works out because you're trying, and it's like then you're able to live whatever reality you want. But it's just huge
Uh-huh.
sacrifice, putting your ego to the side, and a lot of pain that people just don't want to deal with.
I completely agree, man. I'm happy that you're like I'm honest about that situation because it's good to say that because maybe someone else is maybe listening and it happened to them recently. But just man, just to kind of wind down a little bit, like just on this sort of the like being full time, like do you know how much DJs I've met and talked to who are doing crypto and Bitcoin?
Well, just like
It's
trading and stuff.
9 times out of 10, if I speak to a big, I'm not going to like name any
Yeah,
names, but
yeah,
big names, and they all say, we're doing crypto, man. We're in Bitcoin. We're in funds. We're doing things because they know that diversifying
yeah,
or just creating more sources is important. And that's nothing to do with music at all. So that's
yeah,
just one example. I'm not saying go and quit your job and go into crypto, but I'm just giving a general example of like, hey, like if you're listening to this, like, you know, think outside the box, man. You don't have to be a DJ and just have performance fees. That's difficult because what happens in January when there's no
yeah,
clubs open? I don't know. I'm just giving examples like, so
yeah.
I'm just sort
It's
of, I'm just opening Pandora's box here of
Yeah, there is that
pots.
misconception where it's like I think to wrap the conversation up, the main thing that like we kind of want people to see TrackStack as is for people to look at TrackStack as a revenue generating engine, and that's something that we've all kind of heard from the team multiple times in this repositioning 2.0. And I think with what you're doing is like you're kind of a case study for someone who's living multiple revenue streams in the electronic
Mm,
music industry, which is who we are trying to serve. Because people, if I could say to the majority of any aspiring artists, hey, do you want to be full time in the music industry or do you want to continue being an accountant? They'd be like, you know what? Like,
mm.
this is my dream. I love making music. Like, I'll try to make it work in the music industry. I'm not saying all people would do that. I would say the majority would. So it's just,
I think, I think to add less pressure to that statement, it would be let's just take that statement and change it. Okay.
mm,
I want to earn enough revenue to be able to focus on my passion
yeah,
because
yeah.
that to me leads to success. Because if you just add this sort of like, I want to quit my accounting job to become a DJ, that sounds like the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
If you can make enough revenue to be able to focus on your passion, that to me is success, I think, because you're doing what a lot of people
Mm,
can't, and that
mm,
leads to lots of great things versus this sort of very pressurized outcome where you'll end up burning out and you'll end up maybe going back to square one. So I think the track stack, well, the message here and track stack is like being able to earn enough revenue to be able to give yourself enough time to focus on your passion. And that passion
mm,
can obviously be in music, it could be anything. It can be fashion. It can be like whatever. To then try and pursue that and turn that hobby into a career. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful, bro. I think we'll close on that. That's gonna I'm gonna have to clip that one. That was a nice one. That was
yeah, good one, man.
that was some
It's
good
kind of
shit,
just,
bro.
it kind of just boils down to that, man. That's just really it. Like I said
It's
this in the beginning, I wanted to give enough time to be able to focus on my to be able to play in the weekends, to tour, to make music, to be in the studio, to collaborate with people, to whatever that looked like for me. You know, I needed the time, and that was for me the driving engine behind it.
so that was your kind of
Motivation. My whole
yeah,
motivation was that
yeah,
because I can't tour and come on a Monday morning into the office. I need that time. I
yeah,
can't go to the studio on a Thursday and work with a producer because I'm in work. Oh, I need that time.
yeah,
I can't, like, you know what I mean? So it was giving me
yeah.
the time to focus on those things.
I think reframing the whole thought and the whole topic is like having enough revenue and having enough revenue to be able to buy your time back so that you can focus on your
Exactly, man.
passion. I think that is
Exactly. That's it, yeah, man. And if
something.
that's personal training with your friend, like you said that he needs more time because like he asked his boss for a Friday
Mm,
off, so he's a good example of he needs more time, man, to put more
yeah,
energy
it's the
and time
time,
into his
bro.
personal training business, man. So obviously he's transitioning. He needs to get more clients, etc. He's going to obviously find a moment where he's making the same amount of money in his current job.
Yeah,
He'll leave that. That's his story. But he needs more time, man, to be able to build his client base. And maybe, I don't know if he can do something else to give him more time. I don't know. Maybe take a three
yeah.
day week, you
Yeah,
know?
it is I think the solution like and what we spoke about earlier in the conversation is the idea of sacrifice because for you to be able to make that transition, you're gonna have to like sacrifice a few things to give yourself the time back. So that, like you said, so the
Hmm.
time need if you're gonna buy your time back, you need money. So that means saving money or earning more money. So like if you that just not going out, like what we spoke about, all the different things you could not do to save money. Um, yeah, I think
Exactly. I mean, you
it.
could just say, here's one like hard piece of advice quickly. If you're really serious about it, spend a year and save every cent
Yeah,
and build up enough bank where you know comfortably you have around maybe 8 months, right? It seems kind of sometimes, man, jumping 2 feet into cold water sometimes can be good. And I'm just giving an example that, if you want to go into it, like hey, I don't want to wait around. I want to go for it. Save up money first. Like, yeah,
yeah.
like your example, you saved up money when you were in Thailand and it didn't work out the first time, but
Yeah, but
then you
that's another
bounce
thing as
back,
well.
you learn lessons.
Like I heard someone say this to me as well. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like when I first came out here, bro, I didn't know anyone. Like I had enough money for a few months. Like I had no confirmation of making money, so I was like, it was a huge gamble. But like, what's the worst that can happen? Is like I'm gonna have to go back to my parents' spare room. Like they're not gonna say, and obviously I'm blessed. I have a beautiful family that are gonna be able to like welcome me. And I know some people don't have that opportunity, and whatever. But like you're not gonna die. Like, you're not gonna get like you're not gonna get like be homeless. Like it's for the most
If
part.
anything, you have more skills. If you think about it,
Yeah, life
if anything,
experience.
you've actually, but you've gained skills. I'm sure there were skills that you
Yeah,
got, which you can actually put into your arsenal, which you didn't even think
yeah,
were there. So, if
yeah,
anything, it's a good
100%.
thing, in my opinion. But
Yeah,
yeah, man,
100%.
thanks for the conversation, man. I think we've covered a lot. Hopefully, everyone, people that are listening, have gotten some value from it. And yeah, man, let's
Well,
let's wrap.
let's wrap it up, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you for jumping on.